Hi, welcome back to Melrose Media Online. I'm going to cover the Stream Deck XL and how I use it. There's three areas that maybe you don't know about already. One, launching into File Explorer locations. Two, running batch files. And three, on the Elgato Stream Deck setup itself, you have two items, a folder and a profile. And just to let you understand the differences and how you may be best to use these. So I'm just going to cover just getting something into the Stream Deck itself, just to launch a program. There's many other YouTube videos out there going through this extensively. I don't plan to go through it extensively at all. This is just a quick sort of here's how to do this. So by default you have a system menu in your Elgato setup, and if you click in here there's a number of functions, but to simply open up an application you've got a function here called open, and you simply drag and drop it over to the empty space, and that leaves you with a pathway, what you want to open, and the ellipsis here at the end allows you to browse to a file location. So you can browse anywhere you want. I'll just go into something I'll run, and I've set it up as Crystal. Now, making the icon different, if it's a clearly understandable icon and you know what the icon is almost immediately, you can leave the icon itself. You can add some text in here to make it a wee bit more understandable, and you can place where that text sits, whether it's in the middle or the top, and you can tell it what colour the font has to be and the size, and you can even change the font there as well. So there's a lot you can do to make it stand out. And the last but not least, you can change the icon itself. So it gives you a number of icons to start off with, Elgato. And if none of these fit, you can add other icons by going up to this menu item here, and on the left hand tab, icons. And you can download a whole load of different icons that may be suitable for what you're trying to display on your screen. And coincidentally, if you do use Illustrator, Adobe products and any of these other items, there is icon packs for your shortcuts. So you can add icons from here, or you can hit the down arrow and you've created your own, and you can pull in your own icon, or you can actually create one on the Stream Deck icon. Oh, sorry, that's the wrong menu. You can create one going to create new icon, and it brings up the website, which I'll just pull over here, and you can choose from many more icons here, or you can create your own. You know, you can simply give your background a colour, and you can put text on here. So that's about it, and that's all I'm going to cover in this topic, and that's it done. If I have to press the button here, it will launch Crystal information and show me how my hard disks are getting on. So my first tip and how I use Elgato Stream Deck. In one of my earlier videos I've shown you how to create batch files that create folder templates so that your structures are the same no matter what project you're working on. And you can call those batch files directly from an Elgato Stream button. And how you do that, the normal system menu doesn't have the ability to do this, but again, if you go back to plugins in this menu, you will find the advanced installer. I'll just try and, there it is there, the advanced launch bar here is what you want to install. I've already got it installed, here it is here. And what you want to do is use the advanced launcher and drag that over, and you then go and find the batch file. You just simply go and point to the file, click on the file, and because it is opening up the command prompt to run the batch file, you can set run as administrator here. So that will actually run that batch file for you just at the click of a button. So the second tip and how I use things is I use it to actually launch a location in a folder. So rather than having to open up File Explorer and navigate through to find the appropriate folder where the files I'm looking for exist, I simply press a button on the Elgato Stream Deck and it'll take me straight to that location. And if I press that button just now there, it's just opened up to the location that I'm looking to get into. Really handy, saves a bit of time. So how do we do this? I'll just show you behind the button. It is just using the standard system open. So there we are there. So again, you would drag that on. And the secret to this is you have to prefix the path that you want to open up with the application that you're going to use to open that. And in this case, File Explorer in Windows is called explorer.exe. And you place that in front with a space and then the path. And you can go to the folder location, copy and paste this path in. As long as you've got the application and then the path, that will launch you right into the folder location that you're looking for. So the third tip and use is folders and profiles and what the differences are. So firstly, let's look at profiles. Now up here in the left hand corner, I have the default profile. Now you can rename this to home or main. I've just kept it as default profile. That's where it comes as out the box. But I have created a number of different profiles in here. Now, selecting the Lightroom profile, you see that I have a different screen appears. And these are all shortcut keys that I don't need to remember the key combinations to use in the keyboard any longer. I can simply just press one of these buttons and it will manipulate Lightroom for me. And one of the benefits of using the profile here is as soon as I launch the Lightroom app and it comes to the forefront of the screen will change automatically for me. So there's times that may not be so good, but for most of the occasions when you're moving into a program and you're going to be using shortcuts in that program, it is pretty handy. So you don't need to think about it, it does it for you. So what makes this profile different? How can I get this to launch when I click on Lightroom, for instance? So I need to set my profile to that application. And the way to do that is if I go into settings and in the profiles tab, I would look at the Lightroom profile that I'd set up. Now, before you've done this, this will be empty waiting for you signing something. And it is a whole load of different applications here. You can go and find others. You go and find where that executable, the application lives, and you simply assign it. And what you're saying then to the Stream Deck is every time you open up Lightroom, make sure that you open up this screen with all these shortcuts on it. Now you have to obviously set up these shortcuts just like I showed you earlier with dragging the functions over, and what it will be is it will be a hotkey that you'll use, and it's listening for the key combinations that you would normally use on your keyboard to apply that command into the button. So that's profile. It's a collection of things. As you can see, I'll go back to the default profile, and next to that I've got folders. So I can create a folder, and this is simply a collection of buttons that I can click on a main button and go into a subgroup of stuff. So a section of a toolbox, as it were, and this arrow comes on by default, and by double clicking that or single clicking on the deck, it takes you back to the screen before, not necessarily the default profile. Now, the difference between the profile and folder is obviously the folder won't launch with any application, and also the profile, if you don't attach the application you want to launch to that profile, just like I've shown you earlier there, it also won't launch without an application. So it's very similar to the folder if you don't attach the application you want to fire off. Now, that may be something you want to do, so rather than create folders, you may want to go in and create profiles. And I do have one created here, which is a video creation profile, and I've got a collection of items here that I use, a set of tools here for any time that I'm working on any type of video project. Now if I go back in to this menu, if I go to the video creation, you'll notice there is no application attached to it. So therefore it behaves similar to a folder with one slight difference. So here's the scenarios of where you would use the folder, or maybe the profile and preference of the folder, with the profile not being attached to any application. And you may have built yourself up a toolbox, and that toolbox may be taken with you to a number of locations. Now, rather than having to recreate every single button again multiple times, this is sort of one of the keys to it. So let me just quickly jump back to the default profile and show you. So the folder, if I go in there, I've got 2 buttons here, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this folder. So right click and copy it. I'm going to go inside the folder and I'm going to paste that folder here. Now when I double click in this folder, it almost looks as if something's went wrong. But actually, if I hit the back button, which is set by default to step up a level in every single folder, there's that new folder that I just had copied and created in. Okay, so that's one way. And if you imagine, if there is a scenario you need to dig down deeper with different files at different levels, to get out of it you would need to step up multiple times. Now with a profile, now let me just go into this profile and I'll show you what I mean. So if I press the button, so there's this profile. Now that looks like the back button that's used in a folder, but it actually isn't. It's a Stream Deck switch profile. So you need to go to the Stream Deck menu and you have a switch profile. Now you can then tell the profile in this button where to go next. So I've automatically set this to go to the default profile. So let me just click on this corner and it goes back to the default profile. Now let me just do the same as I did with the folder. So I'm going to take a copy. I'm going to go into the folder and I'll just paste in this. So we've copied it here and let me see if I can get in. And look, no, I can't step in because after all it's a profile. There is only one video creation profile. So how would I create a duplicate profile? So okay then, let me just clean this up. Let me just delete this. And we want to create a secondary creation here. So there's nothing here. So what you do is you go into settings and you select the profile that you wish to duplicate and you right click and say duplicate, and you can then rename this to something else, and I'll just call it test so it stands out. And test is in the same state as the application. I could attach an application to this group of buttons and functionality if I wanted, but this doesn't serve the purpose I'm trying to demo. So we now have a test profile in place. So I'm going to launch that new profile by using switch profiler, drag a button in there and go and look at the test profile I've just created. Now we won't bother setting up the button the way I want it because it's just for demo purposes. But now I've got that button, I can now then click this button and it takes me into that test profile. Now here's the difference here. From within this identical group of buttons that may be used for another purpose or another need, I can direct it somewhere else immediately rather than having to step back out of levels, you know, up one, up one, up one, as you do within the folders. So I can simply say, you know, take me to the FileZilla profile that's been set up. Not that that would be a normal case, but just for demo purposes, then that's what we'll do. And if I hit back there, it takes me to the FileZilla profile. And there's no way out of this profile because it's obviously reliant on me shutting down the program. I could make a way out by again simply doing that and telling it to go to the default profile, and if I hit that button it takes me back out. So slightly complicated, but it's just an advanced use, and you have to think whether that use case works for you. There may be some need for creating a profile and getting that direct access to somewhere else, as opposed to creating a folder set that you have to step back out of to get back into something. So that's the two differences between folder and profile. So I hope this video has been helpful, and it's been slightly different from some of the other videos on YouTube. And please subscribe and like and comment and ask any questions you wish, and I'll try and answer your questions. Thanks very much for watching. Bye.